Hello, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and today I want to talk about transitioning from being a family of 3 to a family of 4. We had our first baby in February of 2018, and we just had our second we had our second baby in October of 2020. So I want to talk about the good, the bad, the indifferent, but before I get into all of those, specifically I want to mention a resource. I've talked on my channel about how much I love Big Little Feelings. They're a couple toddler experts, their Instagram and their toddler course. I did purchase the toddler course, but their Instagram is invaluable, and they have a highlight story reel. I know things about Instagram because I'm not old. They have a whole story dedicated to bringing a new baby home. You know, stuff like don't blame the baby for things. If you can't do something because of the baby, you don't say, I can't play with you, I've got to change the baby's diaper. You say, I'll play with you in 5 minutes. A lot of tips. Check out that story. So first off, I want to talk about the good. Having our first baby, that postpartum period, and I mean really the year after she was born, was such a shock to our systems. Having a second baby, it wasn't that big of a shock. You're already doing the laundry, you're already waking up early, you've already changed your lives going from not parents to parents. Now you're just adding more parenting. You know, hopefully you already have some tricks under your sleeve, up your sleeve, somewhere in the sleeve. Just leave that one alone. You know, you already have a general idea of what you're doing. Having a baby in your home is not entirely novel. It wasn't doubling the intensity. Another thing that I really enjoyed about having a second baby was that I was able to enjoy the pregnancy more or differently. It was still really challenging. I was still really sick in the beginning. I was still really uncomfortable throughout. And this time I had to deal with being pre-diabetic for gestational diabetes. But when I was pregnant with my first baby and I was complaining about nausea and vomiting and all the things, all the moms I knew would talk about, it's so worth it, it's so worth it. And I'm like, easy for you to say. They'd been on the other side. And after I had my baby, I was like, oh, it is worth it. But knowing what it's like being a mom, to enjoy having this human that you made, really understanding how worth it is, made for me the second pregnancy a little easier. I'll link my first trimester video. I still had a breakdown and felt like garbage, but during that breakdown, I had my husband send me baby pictures that he keeps on his phone from when she was a tiny baby. Looking at those baby pictures kind of helped jog my memory as to what it felt like to be a new mom again. I shared this metaphor with my husband and he told me that's not how video games work, but I'm still gonna share it with you. I think that it's kind of like playing a video game where in the beginning you are learning not only how to play the game, but you're trying to beat the level that you're on. And then when you level up or world up or whatever, this is the part he had a problem with because he's like, it doesn't. Anyway, it takes a little more skill, but you're not learning the game again. You know, like with your first, not only are you parenting, but you're learning how to parent. And with the second, you already know how to parent, I mean, mostly, but you're learning how to do that with 2 kids instead of just 1. So now the bad, or let's not say bad, the challenges, excuse me. Back to pregnancy. With my first pregnancy, when I felt like garbage, I could come home from work and be like, sorry, I'm going to bed, I hate everything, and just go to bed. But with my second pregnancy, when I wanted to do that, there was still a human that needed to be taken care of. There was still parenting that needed to happen. So it wasn't just, cool, I'll go watch a movie in the basement. It was, oh great, you're gonna lie around while I feed this kid. My husband was not like that, but he could have been. There's another person to care for. It's not just the 2 of you. I'm gonna go rest my body. I wanna rest my body, but I have more work I need to get done before I can do that. After delivery, the main challenge is that you're spread thinner. We were able to kind of tag team the one person, and now it's kind of more man to man. A lot of times I'm with our baby and my husband's with our toddler, but you know, there are times, especially when there's a massive blowout or somebody's upset, any of us really, or somebody has an appointment. You know, if I need to go do something or my husband needs to go do something, well then it's 2 to 1. We're outnumbered. Tough. Another thing that some people have to deal with, our daughters are in daycare, and financially, that is garbage. I mean, it's great. Our daycare is wonderful, but it's so much money. So that's tough. Something that's kind of a pro and a con is that, you know, you have so much like clothes and equipment and whatnot, hand-me-downs from your first baby, which is a pro, but sometimes some of that stuff has been worn through or covered in poop stains or broken. So you may need some new things and you are less likely to have a shower or something. We still were very fortunate that there were a number of people who, once they hear you're having a baby, they're like, let me buy something. But Pro again, your standards are so much lower for your second than they were for your first. And I've been thinking about why this is. So I mentioned in my 5 things every new parent needs video that a large part of our baby registry, it's not like the actual things that we need, it's the peace of mind that having those things will bring us. And I think that the reason why that stuff is helpful for your first baby, but you don't really need it as much with your second, is because first of all, you've done it before. You have a better idea, you're more comfortable, you're not worrying so much about what you do and don't need. But for your first, you're not also parenting running around. You have more space and time to think about the things that you might need, to worry about, to dream, to plan, to nest. But once you have a kid and you're pregnant with your next, your brain is going to be taking care of that kid and your house and your job if you have one and your partner, and you've got all those other things in life and this other kid to take care of. So there's kind of less time to worry about needing stuff. Pro and con? So lastly, I want to talk about the indifferent stuff that just kind of is. My friend was actually asking me recently if my toddler ever kicked my pregnant belly or hit my belly because she was worried that her daughter might have hurt another woman's pregnant belly. I thought about it, and as I was remembering it, I was like, no, I don't think so. And then the floodgates opened up, and I remembered all the times ow, and my husband was like, gotta be gentle with mommy, you gotta be gentle with mommy, because she'd climb all over me. She's a toddler, I'd be laying around in bed because I'm exhausted all the time and huge. Just wanted to crawl all over mommy and snuggle with me, which was wonderful, but it did hurt on my belly. What I shared with her was that I also thought about how this world loves to share horror stories about pregnancy and birth. We're always hearing horror stories about these awful things can happen in pregnancy. These awful things can happen in birth. These awful things can happen postpartum. And we don't hear about siblings damaging their siblings in utero. We don't hear about that. And I'm sure if that was a thing, we would hear about it. I've heard that baby is so cushioned in there. And if you watch any videos that explain how a cesarean birth works, and you hear about all the layers they have to go through to get to your uterus, there's a lot of cushion. Baby's gonna be fine. So if your older kid's crawling all around you, it is not gonna be comfortable for you, but your unborn baby isn't probably gonna feel much of anything. I mean, worst case scenario, she's just gonna punch back. I think that my second baby, Felicity, she was really active in utero. Isabel just kept stretching out and pushing her feet into my ribs, but Felicity would and I think she was just like, what's that? What's going on? I think she's just a curious kid. She hates being on her back. I don't think she's actually rolled over, and she's more than 7 months, and she just insists on being able to see stuff. She's just social. So one final thing I want to share that I guess could be a pro, a con, an indifferent. They say that the first kid is for the dad and the second one is for the mom. My thoughts are that saying comes from obviously heteronormative couple, whatever. But, I saw with our first baby, they say that mom bonds with baby either in pregnancy or immediately at birth, and that it takes dad 6 months or so to bond with baby. I think it completely depends on everything. But in our situation, the moment that our first daughter was born, I was kind of in shock. I talk about this in my types of maternal love video, Parental Love. I talked about how it took me a while to really figure out what this new maternal love experience was. But my husband was beat upside the face with his love for her the moment he saw her. For both of us, that love continued to grow. So when we had our second baby, that love that my husband had for our firstborn had gone from a 10 to a 40,000 million, all of them. And when I met our second baby, I knew how I was going to feel about her from how I feel about our first baby. So I felt in love with our second baby so much faster than I did with our first because I had perspective on it now. My husband, on the other hand, we kind of swapped our love experiences. His love for our first baby, again, had grown to all the way, and I think that he thought that his love had been consistent. He didn't know that it had grown. I think when he met the second baby, the love he felt for her may have been identical to the love he felt for our first baby at birth, but because his love for that first baby had grown so much, it paled in comparison. I mean, now he's you know, screwed. Like, I think another thing that kind of exacerbates that different feeling for each kid is because, you know, when you do go to that man-to-man defense, a lot of times if you birth this baby, the birth parent will stay with the new baby. It's great for breastfeeding, it's great for babies not moving around a lot, and I shouldn't be moving around a lot. And then the other parent is the one running around chasing the toddler or the older kid. So it also delays that bonding with the non-birth parent and the newborn baby, you know, because I was hogging her to myself the whole time. And with your first, you're kind of tag teaming, sharing, taking turns. So that's it. If you are planning to have another baby, I'm very excited for you. If this has confirmed you don't want one, I'm very excited for you that you have come to that conclusion that's right for you. If you're already pregnant and expecting, I'm so excited for you. I'm just excited, you guys. I'm really excited. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like this video and please subscribe. I could use some more of those, please. I'll see you next time. Bye. I'm just doing the wave. This is awful.